Port 9, April 3rd. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low so now I can sleep. I don't hear a thing, and I still don't understand what it says. A few times I play it over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kinnean says maybe it's another language or something, but most times it sounds American. It talks so fast, faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in 6th grade, and I remember she talked so fast that I couldn't understand her. I told Dr. Strauss what good it is to get smart in my sleep. I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing, and that I have two minds. There's the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, have I been having some crazy dreams. Wow. Ever since that night TV, the late show. I forgot to ask him if it was only me or if everybody had those two minds. I just looked up the word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me. The word subconscious is an adjective of the nature of mental operations yet not present in consciousness, as in subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go with them to Muggsy's saloon for some good drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we will have lots of fun. I had a good time. Joe Carp says I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told that Mr. Donikin said I was the best janitor he ever had because I like my job and I do it good and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. I said Miss Kinnean always said, "Charlie, be proud of your job because you do it good." Everybody laughed, and we had a good time, and they gave me lots of drinks. And Joe said Charlie is a card when he's potted. I don't know what that means, but everybody likes me, and we all have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and coffee for Joe and Frank, and when I came back there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Mrs. Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head and a black and blue all over. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp said it was the cop. They beat up drunks sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kinnean says cops are to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink any more. April 6th. I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I beat him until Bert the tester told me. The second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smart to beat a smart mouse like Algernon, but I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. They let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said I can feed him because I felt bad to beat him and I wanted to be nice and make friends. Bert said, "No, Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all the animals to stay smart so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing like a lock on a door that changes every time. Algernon goes in to eat, so he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad, because if he couldn't learn, he would be hungry. I don't think it's right to make you pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Nemor like it to have to pass a test every time he wants to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon." April 9th. Today, after work, Miss Kinnean was at the laboratory. She looked like she was glad to see me, but scared. I told her, "Don't worry, Miss Kinnean, I'm not smart yet," and she laughed. She said, I have confidence in you, Charlie, and the way you struggled so hard to read and write better than all the others. At worst, you will have it for a little while, and you're doing something for science. We are reading a very hard book. I never read such a hard book before. It's called Robinson Crusoe, about a man who gets marooned on a desert island. He's smart and figures out all kinds of things so that way he can have a house and food, and he's a good swimmer. Only, I feel sorry because he's all alone and has no friends. But I think there must be somebody else on the island because there's a picture with his funny umbrella looking at footprints. I hope he gets a friend and not be lonely. April 10th. Miss Kinnian teaches me how to spell better. She says, look at a word and close your eyes and say it over and over until you remember. I have lots of trouble with through, that you say through and enough and tough, that you don't say inu and two. You have to say enough and tough. That's how I used to write it before I started to get smart. I'm confused, but Miss Kinnian says there's no reason in spelling. April 14th. I finished Robinson Crusoe. I wanted to find out more about what happens to him, but Miss Kinnian says that's all there is. Why? April 15th. Miss Kinnian says I'm learning fast. She read some of the progress reports and she looked at me kind of funny. She says I'm a fine person and I'll show them all. I asked her why. She said, never mind, but I shouldn't feel bad if I find out that everybody isn't as nice as I think. She said for a person who gave God so little to you done more than a lot of people with brains they never even used. I said, all my friends are smart people, but they're good. They like me and they never did anything that wasn't nice. Then she got something in her eye and had to run to the ladies' room. April 16th. Today I learned the comma. This is a comma. A period with a tail. Miss Kinnian says it's important because it makes writing better, she said. Somebody could lose a lot of money if a comma isn't in the right place. I don't have any money, and I don't see how a comma keeps you from losing it, but she says everybody uses commas, so I'll use them too. April 17th. I used the comma all wrong. It is punctuation. Miss Kinnian told me to look up long words in the dictionary to learn to spell them. I said, what's the difference if you can read it anyway? She said it's part of your education, so now I'll look up all the words I'm not sure how to spell. It takes a long time to write that way, but I think I'm remembering. I only have to look up once and after I get it right. Anyway, that's how come I got the word punctuation right. It's that way in the dictionary. Miss Kinnian says a period is punctuation too, and that there's lots of other marks to learn. I told her I thought all the periods have to have tails, but she said no. You got to mix them up. She showed me how to mix them up, and now I can mix up all kinds of punctuation in my writing. There are lots of rules to learn, but I'm getting them in my head. One thing I like about Dear Miss Kinnian, that's the way it goes in a business letter if I ever go into business, is she always gives me a reason when I ask. She's a genius. I wish I could be smart like her. Punctuation is fun. April 18th. What a dope I am. I didn't even understand what she was talking about. I read the grammar book last night and it explains the whole thing. And then I saw it was the same way as Miss Kinnian was trying to tell me, but I didn't get it. I got up in the middle of the night and the whole thing straightened out in my mind. Miss Kinnian said that the TV working in my sleep helped out. She said I reached a plateau. That's like a flat top of hill. After I figured out how punctuation worked, I read over all my old progress reports from the beginning. Boy, did I have crazy spelling and punctuation. I told Miss Kinnian I ought to go over the pages and fix all the mistakes, but she said, no, Charlie. Dr. Niemeyer wants them just as they are. That's why he lets you keep them after they were photostated. To see your own progress. You're coming along fast, Charlie. That made me feel good. After the lesson, I went down and played with Algernon. We don't race anymore. April 20th. I feel sick inside. Not sick like for a doctor, but inside my chest. It feels empty, like getting punched and a heartburn at the same time. I wasn't going to write about it, but I guess I got to because it's important. Today was the first time I've ever stayed home from work. Last night, Joe Carp and Frank Riley invited me to a party. There were lots of girls and some men from the factory. I remembered how sick I got last time I drank too much, so I told Joe I didn't want anything to drink. He gave me a plain Coke instead. It tasted funny, but I thought it was just a bad taste in my mouth. We had a lot of fun for a while. Joe said I should dance with Ellen and she would teach me the steps. I fell a few times and I couldn't understand why because nobody else was dancing besides Ellen and me. And all the time I was tripping because somebody's foot was always sticking out. That's when I got up and saw the look on Joe's face and it gave me a funny feeling in my stomach. "He's a scream," one of the girls said. Everybody was laughing. Frank said, "I ain't laughed so much since we sent him off for the newspaper that night at Muggsy's and ditched him. Look at him. His face is red. He's blushing. Charlie is blushing." "Hey, Ellen, what'd you do to Charlie? I never saw him act like that before." I didn't know what to do or where to turn. Everybody was looking at me and laughing, and I felt naked. I wanted to hide myself. I ran out into the street and threw up. Then I walked home. It's a funny thing, I never knew that Joe and Frank and the others liked to have me around all the time to make fun of me. Now I know what it means when they say, to pull a Charlie Gordon. I'm ashamed.